Hi, Megan. It's Stephanie and Adrian from the How to Be a Redhead podcast. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, we are so excited to talk to you all about redhead makeup. It's seriously one of our favorite topics. And before we kind of get into that, we wanted to ask, and we like to ask all of our redheaded client, or I should say, our guests, is what was it like for you growing up with red hair? Because we know you're from Canada, right? Where in Canada?
So I'm from Regina, Sask, kind of right in the middle of Canada.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we would love to hear what was it like for you growing up as a redhead in Canada?
Yeah, so I was the only redhead in my family. So my sisters both have brown hair, my parents have like dark hair. So I definitely had to kind of find my way as far as like, okay, what does that mean for the clothing I should be wearing? What does that mean for how I do my makeup? Because I couldn't do my makeup how my mom did because she had dark hair. And I also felt like growing up, and I'm sure a lot of us can relate to this. It's like there were not a lot of redhead like representation. Like we had Ariel,
Mm-hmm.
she had a tail, and she was wearing a bra,
Yeah.
and then we
True.
had
Yeah.
Gretchen from Recess, and she was like, she had the glasses on. She was always like spewing
Yes.
facts.
Oh
Like
my
that was cool,
gosh.
but I just yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
But I just didn't really relate to either of those two. So I feel like until, kind of Lindsay Lohan stepped on the scene, I'm sure all of us are like big Lindsay fans, but
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
when it was
Yep.
really like, okay, here's like a normal, beautiful redhead being portrayed as like the protagonist. And I feel like that was really inspiring from a young age to be like, okay, redheads, we are interesting to look at. We can be seen. We don't have to be like the over, mermaid. We don't have to be like super, super, I don't want to say like we don't have to be like Gretchen vibes. We can kind of be somewhere in between. We can be like ourselves and normal.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
can. Yeah. And then where did you get your red hair from?
Yeah, so my family's like Irish, Scottish, English. So I think it's just in the genes. My mom has a really big family and her sister married my dad's brother. Small
Her
town sass.
sister married my. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Small
Wow.
town sass, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
and their first son has red hair too. So it's in the genes
Oh,
somewhere. It's just not my parents.
Definitely. Yeah, it has to be in the gene and it can
Yeah.
skip genes, which is like so crazy that can happen, you know?
Yeah.
And
I just
you're a new mom, right?
Yes, I was gonna go into that. I don't understand genetics whatsoever. My husband has dark brown hair. Both of our kids have red hair, like bright red hair. They both
Really?
have
no
like, yeah,
way.
I don't understand it. But same thing on his side. He has some cousins who have red hair. So somehow in the genes, we're all Irish, Scottish, English. Somehow in the genes, it's just coming in strong.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my
That is
yes.
so interesting. We have family who Stephanie will tell you about her kids, but
Yeah.
we have cousins who are black hair, tan skin, and their kids have red hair and pale skin. And we
Like
don't
100%
understand.
Italian on our dad's side. Yeah, and
Oh
And
my
we just
gosh,
don't
and the red
understand like
skin.
how crazy the gene is. I mean, it just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing because it's a recessive gene, right? So it just kind of
mhm.
pops up when it necessarily shouldn't, or it's a surprise almost.
Yeah, but when you had your kids, it was like at birth, it was bright red?
Well, I would say, okay, they didn't have much hair to begin with, so it
Yeah.
was hard
Yeah.
to tell.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
once the hair came in, same thing, bright red, both of them. And they had the classic like blonde eyebrows, bright red hair, light eyes.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah. See, I have a
Yeah.
3-year-old and a 1-year-old,
Oh,
and
no way.
my husband is brunette,
Yeah.
and he can tan so nice. I'm jealous, but my son is brunette. I'm curious to see when he gets older, maybe a red beard because sometimes you see that
Oh,
with
yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
But my daughter, she right when I was giving birth to her, or my OB was said, quote, not a ginger, and it was like a big laugh in the room. But as she's gotten a little older, I see a little, like, sometimes in the sunlight or in certain photos I see a little bit of strawberry blonde, but then in the back of her
Yeah.
head, and when it's like wet when she's taking a bath, it's so brown. But I'm curious to see if it like changes. And how
Yeah.
old are your kids?
And I was gonna say, I think that's the thing with red hair. It's like that warmth is probably there for your kids. Like guaranteed, if they ever go to bleach their hair blonde, guaranteed it's gonna go orange. Like I feel like the warmth will pull because you are a
Okay.
redhead. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
Oh,
my kids
that's
interesting.
are
cool.
5
That's
and
really cool to
2.
know.
Okay.
Yeah, my kids are 5 and 2, and yeah, very red hair. Like,
Oh my
way
god. So
lighter than mine.
do
Mine's
you
more
get
auburn,
stopped?
theirs is like copper.
Do you get stopped by strangers? Like,
Yeah.
depend.
Oh my gosh. It's so interesting because I was being a redhead growing up. You hear things like people love to say, oh, redhead, you got a fiery temper. And it's fascinating now being a redhead myself, having that experience, and then watching my kids. People say the same things to my kids, but then kind
Oh,
of having that experience myself of being like, well, no, that's actually just a myth. That doesn't relate to anything to do with your temper. Like, I'm a very calm personality. So are my kids. Like, it doesn't link to the hair. But it's just
yeah.
interesting that I have the perspective of having gone through those experiences myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right,
Having people
right.
say things, yeah.
That's so
Wow.
true.
Wow. And we really wanted to dig into how you have a master's degree in gerontology.
So cool.
Yes.
So, if you
Yeah.
could tell our audience what exactly it is, how it's benefited you as a makeup artist, and you must love your job, we can get into that. But I'm just so
Um,
interested in your degree.
Yeah, it is an interesting degree and kind of it does relate, but on the surface a little bit random. So it's the study of aging. And so this is something that has helped me massively in my makeup artistry business. I think not only, the degree was a like major research focus. So we really understood, okay, how do we go in? How are we finding pieces of evidence that are like reliable? And I think that's something that has served me in my business and in doing makeup, but also it's kind of taught me about like, okay, how do we age? What does that look like? What are the changes that come on a face in the hair tone and everything that come with age? So I think it's been really interesting to kind of have both sides of the equation of like, okay, I'm really into like the beauty side, the makeup side, but then I also know, okay, the research side and like what is true and what are the changes that are going to happen and how can we make accommodations with makeup? Like, as we age, we all of our skin gets a little bit more on the dry side. And so that's something that, okay, now I know, and I have mom of the bride. These are accommodations I'm making for her skin prep.
That's
Wow.
so
That's so cool. My
yeah.
first
Yeah.
thought, my first thought is, do you have
Yeah.
any secrets about not aging? Like, do you know something having this degree? Like, I was like, what are, because like, I just want to know if there's something we don't
Yeah.
know.
I think this is not a secret, but I think, and it's not really like a sexy answer, but I think it's the truth. It's like the habits that we do every day have a big impact. And I think this is like inspiring in a sense because you don't have to be doing big things. It can be, I'm drinking a little bit extra water so I'm not dehydrated. I'm making sure I'm moving my body just every day. It doesn't have to be intense. And those
Mm,
habits kind of stack over time to give you a good picture when you're aging. I
Mm,
also find it's fascinating to me to watch women age and the women who will really put a lot of effort, take good care of themselves, make sure that they're prioritizing their health, and reflecting that on the outside. So they're maybe doing their hair, they're making sure they're put together in a sense. I find that's interesting, the effect that has on mental health and the
yes.
mm.
sense of well-being that someone has even as we get older.
Definitely. I can totally relate to that. Adrian and I, sometimes we're like, okay, we got to just pause. And Adrian will say, I got to go get a blowout. Or I'm like, I just got to take like a long shower and kind of just do like a do you like me time. Cause I think that is so, so important, especially with everyone's lives. Everyone's so busy and balancing a lot and whatever it may be in your life, but just taking that time to also like take that time to take a sip of water. And yeah, I couldn't agree more with that.
Yes.
um and we
And once you
saw,
become a mom too, it's like, sorry to interrupt, but once you
yeah,
become a
no,
mom too, I feel like it becomes such a priority. Like you can get lost in whether it's your work, whether it's being a mother, you can get lost in a lot of different things and kind of like sacrifice yourself. But it really comes at like a high cost of like your mental health, like your
Yes.
well-being.
mhm.
So like, it is important. It's not just vanity. It really is important for yourself.
No, yeah, and it's not selfish. I think a lot of moms have so much mom guilt with, oh my gosh, like I to be away from my kids even for a few hours, whether it's like you're going shopping or going to get your nails done or just like going out with drinks with your friends, whatever it may be. But it's hard to have that guilt sometimes because you're like, oh my gosh, I should be there with my kids like 24/7. But also it's important to step out and get a little bit of, again, me time, and it's good for your mental health. And I always, I don't get to, like, for instance, nails. I got my nails done a few weeks ago and I came home and I just felt so good. Like I felt like polished, put together, clean. And then I was like ready to tackle having a crazy 3-year-old. So it's good to it was only for an hour and a half, but I'm sure you can relate, just like stepping out and doing something for yourself.
Yes. And it's also good for our kids to see, to see, okay, mom
Mm.
takes care of herself. This is how you take care of your body. This is how you take care of your mental health. I even love when my kids see, I have like a walking treadmill I got for Christmas.
I was
And
just
I
going to
love when they
say,
see, yeah,
when you,
I love when they see me
yes.
there.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. I was just thinking, right when you said that, I was thinking about working out because I have a Peloton and I have one of my favorite instructors. She was saying recently that she purposely has her daughter watch her train for marathons, like whether it's just, going outside as she's finishing a run that she's on or on the treadmill in her apartment. But it's important for your kids to see you working at something and setting a goal and working out, because it shows determination and wow, like mom is like doing something. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. I thought about that right when you said that.
Yeah, I love that. And I feel like it also teaches them about like a little bit of mental resilience. Like this is hard. I don't feel like doing this today, but I'm going to do it, I'm going to do this for me
Yeah.
because in the end it's my goal or this is something I want. So I am working towards it. I don't want to today, but I'm going to.
Redheads, have you heard?
We aired on ABC's Shark Tank, episode 14, season 15. We are busy developing products and continuing to grow this incredible redhead lifestyle brand.
Check out our mascara and eyebrow products in red hot shades, hair care, merch, lifestyle items, and so much more. Redheads, we can now rejoice.
Finally, there are products for us.
Use code podcast to get 15% off your next purchase. Shop at shop.howtobearedhead.com.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Yeah, it's so important. Yeah, I mean, I think that's awesome and I can totally relate. But okay, so let's go into makeup. We have so many questions we want to ask you. We saw an Instagram post you did in April of 2024 where you compared how you used to do your makeup compared to now, and you said in the before picture, quote, "My eyeshadow was too dark, my lip color was off, and my eyebrows were just a block." So end quote. So tell us about your journey of learning, Meagan, which colors and techniques worked for you personally, because as you said, it is a journey and trends come and go, and we see it all the time with influencers too on TikTok where they'll say like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did my makeup like this like 10 years ago." Or you may look at a childhood photo. Adrian and I do this all the time, and we are like, "Oh my god, we can't believe we did like our eyebrows like this." And it's a learning experience. But talk to us about how you figured out what works for you personally.
Yeah, I think all of us kind of go through this journey. I find a lot of people we kind of do the same thing. I feel like a lot of times we do our makeup one way. Maybe we learned from our mom watching our mom and so we're doing something similar, or maybe we learned from like our friends or YouTube videos. And I feel like that's the struggle. We always are trying to be recreating something we've seen on someone else instead of doing what actually suits ourselves. And that was my journey. I did my hair too dark for my
Mm.
natural color. I did my brows too dark because I thought, oh, I like the contrast that it gives me on my skin. I think also before you have an understanding of colors, how to create harmony in a palette with your hair color, your eye color, your skin color, you're kind of just trying whatever. You're like, oh, TikTok tells me I need this cool pink blush. That's what I'm gonna do.
Mm.
Or, oh, now we're all doing latte makeup. All right, gonna give it a go. Instead of being like, okay, wait, like my face is the same as it's always been. Maybe I'm aging a little bit, hopefully not. But my face is the same as it's always been. I have the same coloring, the same set of features. So, like, what's going to actually look good on me? What's going to emphasize me? And I feel like that was kind of my journey. And even at the beginning, when I look back of like doing makeup and doing clients, like you really make a lot of mistakes along the way when you're kind of learning about colors, learning about how to create that harmony, learning about how to look at someone and be like, okay, she's going to fall into this category. She's going to need warmth in her look versus she's going to fall into this category and be more enhanced by a cool tone look. Or even just how much makeup. I think when I was younger too, I think I tried to do too much makeup. I liked the
Mm.
more made up look. And as I get older, and I think the trend too is now, I think more of this like enhanced look. But I
Mm.
realize that I think the way that you express yourself with your makeup says a lot to other people who are viewing you. And so I prefer to kind of have more of like just like a enhanced, like feminine look in general because it more represents like who I am on the inside.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. And makeup's supposed to, it's a feel good, it makes you, it's supposed to make you feel good. So it's everyone's journey, I think, is so different with their features. I'm sure, you specialize too in wedding and event makeup, which is really awesome. But last year, this is interesting. You had your wedding photos retaken. Adrian and I were talking about this prior to
That's so
having you on.
cool.
I know it's I've never heard of that. So why did you choose to have them retaken? And I guess walk us through the timeline on when did you get married to then when did you have them retaken?
Yeah. So when we got married, it wasn't the look that I wanted for my aesthetic. I had my hair, I was really into at that time, like really dark red hair. And now I know with my coloring, I fall into the autumn palette. My
Mm,
coloring is not suited by a dark, cool tone. I'm more suited by a shade that's closer to my natural color and adding some warmth. So I wanted to recreate the look of it in general. I also felt like I just went a little bit too dark with the makeup and I wanted to kind of keep it more like enhanced. And then also I was 4 months pregnant at my wedding. My husband had broke his ankle, so he had like an ankle brace. I don't know if you saw the photo.
oh
Yeah, like it was just not the vibe. I had bought my dress prior to the wedding, and so it just didn't fit my, 4 month pregnant body. So I really wanted to feel more of a bridal, beautiful version of myself, more like classic timeless that I like wanted on my walls. So
no.
that's why it was
Yeah.
important to
Wow.
me.
Wow. So how many years
Yeah.
later did you do it?
Well, we got married when my daughter, I was pregnant with her 4 months and she's 5. So I would say
5 years later.
four, yeah, 5 years later.
Oh my,
Wow.
and you
That's
just
so
got them
good.
retaken.
Yeah, I just got them retaken. I'm so happy with it. I feel like it's more, I think, and this is one of my like top pieces of advice to every bride. Of course, it's your preference, it's your day, but I think the closer you can just enhance your natural, what you already have, it's just going to be your
Yeah.
best bridal look.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Wow.
agree. Like, do also what makes you feel comfortable because it's your
Yes.
day. You don't want to
It's your day.
try a new makeup trend or something when you
Yes.
aren't used to that.
Or go too light with your hair, or decide now's the time I'm going to go red for the first time, or I'm going to try blonde for the
Yeah.
first time. It's like you kind of want to have a look that you're sure, okay, I do like this look on me. It is just like a slightly enhanced version. Maybe you've went a little bit lighter with your hair or a little bit darker, but you kind of kept it in that range of like your coloring, your look. And I think it's also important like to really know what your coloring is and what does suit you, because I think even we can have a look that we're like, yeah, this looks great on me. But then once we see like our whole coloring in our palette and what's in harmony with our palette, and then we see what those looks can look like it's a game changer.
No, that's so true. And I
Yeah.
I was I was thinking too, and I know you're a redhead, but I think
Yeah.
all redheads are wondering what a makeup artist thinks when they sit down in the chair to get their
Mm,
makeup done. Like I know when I'm sitting down, the first thought I'm thinking is,
I hope they
are
do it
they
right.
thinking about my eyebrows? Are they thinking about
Yeah.
my blonde eyelashes? Are they thinking about my complexion? Are they thinking about my shade of red? Because there's so many different shades of red. And are they
Yes.
thinking, I think too, or like, are they going to ask questions? Because, for instance, I'm a redhead who loves black mascara. I love a dark look and I love a red lip, right? And I think a lot of makeup artists probably wouldn't think to maybe ask, are you down for that? So I was just wondering, and I know that you are more clued in because you are a redhead, but when a redhead sits down, what's the first thing you think about?
Oh my God. Well, I'm so excited, first of all, because
Right,
I
right,
feel,
love
yeah,
that.
I feel like a lot of times the makeup artist community, we don't know how typically to do redheads. We present a little differently. A lot of times we're very fair. So that can be a little bit of a challenge if the makeup artist isn't as familiar with working with fair tones.
Hmm.
Also, because the thing about fair tones is a lot of times they'll assume, oh, well, you must be cool or neutral undertone, which is just not the case. A lot of redheads can be warm toned, they can be neutral warm, they can be cool, but you have to look at the skin tone in general and understand how to look and eyeball a fair skin tone, which is different than doing that for a medium skin tone. And
Hmm.
then also, we do have the red hair, which adds a lot of warmth, it adds a lot of like color, it adds a lot of saturation, which is going to impact what we should be doing and the colors that we should be selecting as well. So I feel like I feel like a lot of times I'm so happy because I'm like, I can almost guarantee that that Redhead has never had a makeup artist who understands how to do Redhead makeup.
Yeah. Yeah,
So I'm
like
always like, oh, this is going to be good. She's going to feel so pretty and she's probably never going to have seen herself like this. So I'm
yeah,
always
and
really
it's like,
excited.
I'm
Wow.
so excited. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
how about freckles? If someone was to
Yes.
sit in your chair and it could be a situation where they love their freckles, they want to enhance them, or complete opposite. They are still struggling with their freckles and want to cover them up completely.
Yeah. I think I always get so sad if I have to cover freckles. And something I
Yeah.
tell people too is like,
Mm.
you can cover your freckles. It depends how the freckles are showing up on the face. Are they really prominent?
Mm.
Then it's like, that's a little tougher of a thing to cover. And really, something I like to discuss with people, it's going to completely change the way you look. So if you're someone who's used to seeing yourself with freckles and now on your wedding day, you're like, cover them all. I'm like, is that what you want? Because it's going to change the way you look. But that is why we have a trial, so she can see at the trial and then be like, all right, okay, that maybe is too much. It's really changed too much. It's not, it doesn't, I don't feel like myself. That's the biggest thing that you don't want on your wedding day. You want to feel like you, but a beautiful
Mm-hmm.
version. And
Right.
then for
No, it's
freckles,
true.
there's so many ways that you can keep the freckles with makeup. The biggest makeup tip is just starting at the periphery of the face and working in. So when you first go in with your brush, you're going to have the most amount of product on your brush. So that's where you're going to want to start at
Oh.
the periphery because typically we have more strong, prominent freckles in the center of the face. So we're going to
Hmm.
start here. So that's more saturated with the product and then work up as we have less saturation on the brush. So we're not covering all of the freckles. Another big
Oh.
thing with freckles is concealer. It's really trendy to take concealer kind of down in this like little triangle shape.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when you have freckles, you've just covered the main area of the freckles. So we have to make sure that we're keeping concealer up a little bit higher, kind of just getting rid of any discoloration, but not bringing it down to cover the freckles. Another thing with the freckles is so we've just put concealer up here. You want to make sure that you're not going too light with the concealer either. Because we're
Okay.
just doing a little bit
Mm.
in here, it needs to be pretty much the same color as the foundation, maybe a half shade lighter. So you get a little bit of a highlight, but you're not, you don't want it too much lighter because then it's just going to look like a random little, like the raccoon eyes
Raccoon
that you guys,
eyes.
Yeah.
yes, we
Yeah.
don't want that. It's not cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's not
No.
cute. Yeah.
No, it's really
And then
not.
in pictures, if you were to take a picture, it's like, whoa. Like
Yeah, and
here's
I
my
say that with
face, and
love.
then
Like, let's just not do
here
that. Just do a
here's
shade that's like, your skin tone. It'll look so beautiful. Make sure you cover like any discoloration because that's another thing. Because a lot of redheads are very fair, we can get kind of blue veins like in here. So just
yes.
make
Hmm.
sure that that's maybe color corrected if necessary, and then go in with your concealer on top. But freckles are so beautiful. Like I love working with freckles. They're
Yeah.
very youthful. They
Yeah.
make your face very youthful.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love my
No,
freckles. It's been a
I know.
journey, but yes, I do love them.
Yes, they're
they're
stunning.
s- they're so pretty and so people are paying now so much money and like and
To get
also
the
like painting
faux.
them on and like yeah, it's like
Yes.
such a thing now and people want the bleached eyebrows and the red hair. I'm
Yeah.
like, we are so on trend.
Yeah.
We really
Have
I
been
feel that
since
there's
birth.
always a trend. There's always a trend to the redhead. Like on TikTok
there
a
is.
while ago, everyone was doing cowboy copper. Every
I
Yeah.
celebrity
know.
at some point tries red. I think it's eye catching, it's beautiful, and the world knows it.
I know Khloe
Mhm.
Kardashian just went red and
I know, I
people have
saw
been
that.
sending her photos and I'm like, it does look really good. I mean, it just
Does
is
it?
warm and pretty and like
It's
it
not
looks
warm.
really good. It
Yeah,
looks
it
really,
is
really good.
really warm. It's a warm red. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have online
Fascinating.
courses, which I love, for women to
Yes.
learn how to do their makeup. I think that's so awesome. What inspired you to create the course and what feedback have you received from students?
Yeah, I think, a lot of us, we do our makeup the same way we've always done it. And a lot of times, our faces
Yeah.
change. And sometimes I feel like we just feel like, okay, how I've done it isn't that great. Something's like not really working about that. And I wanted to give people, okay, here's how the techniques that you can use and do them on yourself. Because that's the thing too. It's like we are all different. We have different undertones. We have different hair colors. We have different brow colors. We have different features. And those features can be greatly enhanced with the way and the techniques that we do our makeup, the products that we use, or we can really overemphasize our features, really kind of add, I want to say like a drab look to our face by not using
Mm-hmm.
the right colors for our skin tone, by not using the right colors for our entire palette. So I think it's really important to okay, we're on TikTok, we're learning about all the trends, but then we're seeing, okay, what would I do on my face? How do I customize to my face? And what techniques are going to enhance my natural beauty? And so I wanted to showcase that so people can feel empowered to do their own makeup, feel beautiful, and not just be a trend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then,
I feel like I do my makeup the same, and I have to be really cautious of that. I have to be really
yeah.
careful to not just do the same makeup I've been doing for 10 years, you know? Like I have to do things that are different, but also like not like what you said in the beginning, making sure that it's okay for me at the same time, you know? Like I don't know,
Yeah.
sometimes some of the recommendations on TikTok aren't for all redheads. So
Yes.
you do have to be
Hmm.
really careful.
And this is something too, I think. So we all have red hair. So there are going to be some similarities, some things that are just going to universally look good on us, but we all have different skin tones. So let's say you're a cool
Mm.
neutral skin tone and I'm a neutral warm skin tone. Things that are going to look good on me and enhance my coloring are going to be like warm peach shades, like warm corals. But maybe for you, you're like, when I put on a warm, I just don't pop. It actually makes me just, it throws off the whole harmony of my face. So maybe for you,
Yeah.
you're like, I actually prefer to do this more cool tone red, more of a cool tone pink or rosy shade. That's what's going to enhance you. And so I think those things won't change for you, but it's important. That's why I think customization and knowing your palette are so important, because then, yeah, you can always just buy the shades in your palette. Maybe you can go a little darker, a little lighter and play with that, but making sure that it's going to harmonize with the rest of your face. I think it's just
Mm.
so empowering. Once you find your colors, you're just like, oh my gosh, like I'm very
Yeah.
warm and I was wearing cool tone pinks forever because my eye loves to like look out and see pink. I like it. But then when
Yeah.
I put pink on my palette, it doesn't
Yeah.
harmonize with my palette. It really, and I didn't see that for years until I really did
Hmm.
my own color analysis and I was like, oh my gosh, like I've been wearing the wrong shades forever. And it's so sad for myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's a thing and it gives you
Yeah,
confidence and
it
empowerment.
does.
So, yeah,
Mhm.
we are really big fans about this and talking about all of these trends and stuff on TikTok. So, let's talk about trend predictions in 2024 and what trends you like to see this year and what trends do you see a lot of? Maybe some trends you don't like. Like what are some things that you think are going on right now? Especially
Mm.
TikTok is just information overload
Oh,
My
with
God. Oh
with
my
it
trends.
is.
gosh.
Yes. And I think so. Something that I feel for the beauty industry is every other industry has focused on customization. If you're in the health industry, you're getting blood work and they're like, here's the nutrients that you're either lacking that you need. They're looking at your
Yeah.
biology, your DNA, and they're saying, hey, you actually have like a predisposition towards something. So you're going to have to correct in this sort of a way. And that's something we don't do in beauty. We're just like latte makeup, you know?
Yeah. Right.
It
Yeah.
Right.
drives
Like,
me
here's a
crazy
trend.
because
Everyone try
yeah.
it.
And I'm all for trends, but I just think like, how do we make a trend? How do we customize a trend for our own palette? Like that's more interesting to me. How do I enhance myself maybe using this trend in on my palette? So I think customization, I think niche beauty, like you ladies niching down and like the redhead and customizing it for redheads. I feel like any kind of niche, any kind of customization, I think is just that's where we're going. That's the future. Especially with AI, we're seeing like, Charlotte Tilbury has like virtual try-ons. We're
My
all wanting
gosh.
to like
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, we're all wanting to see, okay, does this look good on me before we're buying things too? So I think customization, virtual try-ons, any kind of like AI customization for your makeup is going to be massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I
agree.
know. AI is crazy.
Yes, it's so exciting. There's just so much you can do now. And I think this is going to be really helpful. I think a lot of people are going to learn how to customize makeup, like specifically not only for their palette, but for their features. And I think that's really exciting for people and for the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And now, okay. So we have to ask what's next for you? Like
Yeah.
in 2024 to in the 2025.
Okay, so I think one of my biggest things, like we talked about, both my kids are redheads, and so I'm definitely on a mission to help redheads just feel beautiful. I think it's something that the world has always kind of pushed at me a little bit. Like I have a YouTube channel, and one of my top performing videos is like redheads, but I just never listened. I was always like, well, I don't know if I want to go
Yeah.
in that direction. But the world
Yeah.
just keeps being like, and now you have a redhead daughter, and now you have a redhead son, and now
Yeah.
there's another comment on your redhead
These
video. And I'm
signs.
like,
Yeah.
okay. Like, I'm listening. I'm listening. So I think for me, I'm on a mission to help redhead women feel beautiful. I feel like a lot of times we are just not done right by the beauty community. We're not customized properly. And I want to change that. I've had so many clients like sit down in my chair that are redheads. And after they have their makeup done, like they cry because they're like, I've never felt
Yeah.
beautiful. Like no one knows how to
Yeah.
do redheads. We always throw redheads in like jewel tones. And some of us will look good in jewel tones and other of us will just be overpowered by jewel tones. So I think that's a really big mission for me, is like making sure that by the time my daughter's like of age where she's wearing makeup, that there's just so much information out there. Like she's gonna feel beautiful. Makeup artists are gonna know how to do redhead makeup. And then
Mhm.
also I really want to do Lindsay Lohan's makeup. Like I'm dying to do
Oh,
Lindsay
yeah.
Lohan's makeup.
Yeah.
She's just so beautiful, and I feel her makeup artists are actually very good. So I can't even say they're not doing a good job.
Yeah,
They do.
she
Yeah.
has,
Yeah.
doesn't Christopher Buckle,
Yeah.
do her
hmm
makeup? Yeah.
Yeah, he does a great job, and he does Jessica
Mar
Chastain as well.
and Mariah
Yeah.
Carey.
Yeah, and Mariah Carey. Yeah,
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. But
yeah.
she
yeah,
was
he
naming
does
the
a great job.
redheads, you know,
Oh,
Yes,
Jessica
naming the redheads.
Chastain.
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, he does
No,
do
no, but he
Jessica
does all the
Chastain.
big people. He does all the big
yeah,
people.
I mean,
he
Yeah.
does. I
we've
know.
been following him for years. I'm like, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
he
so
looks incredible. I
yeah.
really love his makeup style. It's like very fresh, and he seems to
Yeah.
have a good eye for colors.
Yeah, yeah. He's
Yeah,
just like yeah, whenever he does like Jessica Chastain or Lindsay Lohan, I'm like, "Oh my God, that look." Like I want
yes,
to screenshot it.
right. And then just recreate. Except for it might not work for your palette though, because they have
That's
different color
true.
See?
That's
simulations.
true. They have different undertones and just yeah,
They
totally.
do.
I know. I think
Yes,
that's one of the issues with social media is like people buy stuff because they're influenced and then realize, oh my gosh, this doesn't work for my hair or my skin
yes.
or
And
whatever it
that's why
may
too,
be.
like, yeah, for you ladies, for like anyone listening to this, like you guys should head to my Instagram, because I have an entire I do a free color analysis for
Okay.
anyone. So you don't have to be guessing like, okay, what are my colors? What is my palette?
Yeah.
Like I'll do a free color analysis for you. So you can just head over to my Instagram, comment custom or palette on the latest reel, and I will do that for you. So you don't have to sit there wondering, okay, what are my colors? What makeup color should I be wearing? What is my palette? Because that once you
Yeah.
have that information, it just changes your life.
Yeah. It's like a game
Yeah.
changer. Oh,
It's a game
this is
changer.
very, very, I mean, so much that I've learned about colors and everything. But yes, we will definitely put your Instagram and TikTok handle in the podcast notes too.
Perfect.
Well, so great to meet you, Megan. And I'm so happy for everything that's going on. Congrats on being a new mom and just congrats on everything. We can't wait to keep following you.
Oh, thank you so much. And congratulations to you ladies for being on Shark Tank.
Thank
And
Oh,
thank you so much
you.
thanks.
for all of your work in the Redhead community. It's so nice to have such lovely businesswomen, like people to look up to, and inspirational women like Redheads. So thank you
Oh,
so
thank
much.
you so
Oh, thank
much. Thank
you. Thank
you.
you. Thank you.